It's been 2 years since I've graduated from high school, and every so often I hear someone reminiscing about previous school memories, whether it's in the library or in the school cafe. There was one time where I was buying donuts, and the lady working there started telling me about her school memories. I've been trying to brainstorm ideas for my first video, and the lady at the donut shop kind of got me trying to think about any funny or significant stories that I could discuss. When I left, I tried harder to think about any noteworthy stories, but nothing came to mind, except the really embarrassing ones. So I figured I'll just talk about that. For this video, I'll be discussing a few random and embarrassing stories during school. My high school had a public speaking requirement. Speech, radio host, and debate were our three options that fulfilled the credit. In my freshman year of high school, I decided to take debate. Honestly, I don't know why I chose this out of the three. I know it's important to improve public speaking skills, but I'm a very quiet person in any social situation. With speech, I could have just done my presentations, albeit a little quietly. But with debate, not only are you required to speak loudly, you have to argue with others in front of the class. On the second day of debate, we had to introduce ourselves, and one of the questions we had to answer was, if you had a friend who just moved here, what restaurant would you recommend for them to get a feel for the city? Other classmates of mine had super fancy restaurants, but I didn't really know any. I've never really been to one. We just mainly eat my mom's cooking at home. And I was one of the first to present, so I couldn't copy the most popular answer. And do you know what I said? I said Arby's. I remember a lot of the upperclassmen just started laughing. Again, I don't really know what I was thinking. After a couple weeks learning about the key parts of a debate, we finally had our first ones. We were split into pairs and had a week to prepare both sides of the argument we were given. Now, an important part of the story is that the class was sort of split in two, regular debate and honors debate. Obviously, I was in regular debate, and a lot of the super smart upperclassmen were in the honors. A lot of the upperclassmen were really mean. There's one guy who I'll call Tim. He was really smart, but I remember he was in another class of mine, and he'd always target this one classmate and try and make their life miserable. Also, what I don't understand is that the debate teacher didn't separate us. Most of the time, the honors group would be against the regular group, and they would almost always destroy us. For my group's first debate, we were up against the honors group. And do you know who was in the opposing team? Tim. Right before the debate, I remember he would talk so much crap to us. When I had to speak my section, I was way too quiet. Only my partner, the opposing team, and my teacher could really hear me. Now, I'm really short, quiet, and I guess it doesn't help that I'm Asian. Because while most of my classmates couldn't even hear me, they assumed I was really smart, but I'm not. If you could hear my weak arguments, you'd definitely agree with the other side. But when it came time to vote, most of the class voted for my team. I found out later that it was because they thought I was making some strong constructed argument, but I was just too quiet for them to hear it. I remember right after the debate and before the voting results, I thought, wow, we lost that badly. I was so confused when our team won. My teacher had copies of both sides' scripts, and even she looked confused. When we received our graded script back, it wasn't that great of a score. So we only beat the honors team out of sheer luck. We totally did not deserve that win. During the same semester, I took pottery. It was something I always wanted to do, and when my teacher demonstrated during the first week, I thought, wow, that looks easy enough. I was so wrong. I don't know if this is just common for beginners, or maybe I was just awful at it, but I could not keep my clay pot symmetrical. For our final project, we had to make a birdhouse. I added way too much on the top, and the walls were not strong enough to support it. After the clay had dried, I showed the birdhouse to my teacher. I remember asking her why my birdhouse felt so unstable, and obviously I'm really dumb because I couldn't put two and two together. The whole time she just looked confused. While I was explaining it to her, it broke in my hands and fell on the floor. My teacher was one of the nicest people at that school, but I remember that she was really disappointed in me, which she had every right to be. She just asked me why I would build the birdhouse that way. But this was like 2 days before we had to present it, so there wasn't enough time for me to make another one. So I just sat there until presentation time. The final story I have took place when I was in middle school. It was during English and we were in our grammar unit. I was sitting in class waiting for our teacher to collect our homework, where we had to break down sentences into grammatical parts. I was looking at my homework when I saw someone place their blank homework sheet on my desk. It was a classmate of mine who sat a few seats away from me, and he started to copy all of my answers. Now, I didn't really care if anyone copied me, as long as they asked. But this guy didn't even do that, he just took it. I couldn't even say anything though. This guy was like 5'8", while I at the time was 4'10". After he finished copying, the teacher went around to collect it. The next day, we got our homework back, and I got a 60. The same guy walked over, and I could tell he was mad. He said, "What is this? Aren't you supposed to be smart?" Then, what was really embarrassing and kind of funny is that he started correcting me, and he was completely right. If he had just done his homework on his own, he would have gotten a way better score than me. But my dumb self lowered his score. I know, I'm really stupid. But yeah, that's all of the dumb, embarrassing stories I have for this video. I really hope you enjoyed all of my dumb moments. If you stayed to the end of the video, then thank you, I really appreciate it. I'll probably start posting once a month depending on the video. I was thinking about maybe making a part 2 for this, so I hope you look forward to it in the near future. Thank you again. Bye.